All right. So as promised, gonna hang out with you guys for a little bit here. I should have some videos in my Discord, I think, to take a look at. No, I don't. No one. So let me see. I promised a little discussion on what I think about replay review in sports in general, and what uh, what my thoughts are on it. And that's this. We've had replay technology, really good camera angles. We got cameras everywhere that can see everything that's happening on the field from a better angle than any referee on the field can possibly hope. Also, with the benefit of being able to wind back, you have the ability to see what actually happened, not just what your brain in the heat of the moment at real time speed thought happened. So, in my opinion, the human element of the game is what is happening on the field with the players. That's the human element. That's what I'm watching to see. I don't want an aspect of the human element of the game to be sometimes the referees and the officials get the call wrong. That's not a human element of the game to me. That is a flaw that we accepted at a time when technology didn't exist to make effective replay review a viable option. Now that we have replay review as a viable option, there is no reason that we cannot have replay officials in a booth that are watching the um, watching the game and making calls. You can still keep officials on the field. They can still make calls, but the determination on what the call ultimately ends up being, if there is a disagreement between an official watching it on a television screen and an official watching field, is what actually happened. The source of truth is the replay. So whatever the call was, that's whatever actually happened should determine what happened. If so, and I've also heard, like, if we're going to go specifically to football a second, there is a tried and true, like, there's an old saying that false starts, encroachment, that penalties happen on every play. You know why penalties happen on every play? Because every penalty isn't called. If every penalty starts being called, then you will have a lot of penalties at first, just like in NASCAR when they implemented the new I forget what they call it, but the new electronic system for monitoring penalties on pit road. Yeah, there were a couple penalties and more penalties than you would normally have in the first couple races. And then you know what happened? The teams adjusted to recognizing that there was no longer a gray area and they started playing the game by the book. That's the same thing that players will start doing if they stop thinking that they can get away with stuff that they've been getting away with in the past because the refs just weren't looking. All the players are smart enough that they know what the rules are. So if the players know that every penalty is going to be called and that they can't get away with stuff anymore, then they'll stop trying. And we'll have a better game that's being played, whether it's football, hockey, baseball, basketball, auto racing, NASCAR, F1, IndyCar, I don't care. It If the game is played by the book, as the rules state, that is a better and more fair game in competition in determining which team on that given day is the better team. That's the whole point of the game, is that you play the game honestly and fairly by the rules, and then whoever scores the most points or whatever determines victory by the rules, then that is the winner. That's what I want to watch as a sports fan. So I think in my opinion, we need to dispense with this notion that referees add a human element that makes the game more interesting. In my opinion, they don't. What they add is a fatal flaw that creates unnecessary controversy and makes the fans upset and damages the integrity of the sport. It's 2019. We have the technology to correct this problem today. So let's fix it today. Now, that being said, because that was a lot, let's go to YouTube. And so the first one that folks brought up was Saints Rams blown call. APATH, no, so here's the thing. It does take time to review replays, but it does not take much time. And if you have replay officials, I don't care. The NFL has so much money. The MLB has so much money. NHL, NBA. These sporting organizations have a ton of money. There is no reason why they can't have, I don't know how many replay officials that it would take. Is it going to take 20 replay officials? 5, 10, 20, 30, I don't know however many. So here's what I would do. Count the number of camera angles that you have. And if need be, put in additional cameras, like NASCAR did, that are only for the officials to give additional perspectives so that you can see You've got that 360-degree camera that's been around for years that gives every angle. So there's no reason why you can't have one replay official per camera watching it live, and we've got these things called radios that allow you to talk in real time to the officials that are on the field and communicate. So there's no need for there is no need for us to go through this theatrical show of, oh, the coach has thrown the replay, now the referee is going to walk over and he's going to put his head under a hood and he's going to look at things and then he's going to talk, and that's theater. It doesn't need to take that long. That is theater. That is fiction. That is to play up and add artificial drama. It doesn't have to be done that way. They could do it in a way where the correct call is made. The replay officials don't even have to be in the stadium. They could be at NFL headquarters or MLB headquarters, wherever that is, and communicating via internet, via satellite, with the head official on the field of, hey, on that play, number 19, defense, pass interference. So basically what I'm saying is that the imperfections that exist in modern sports exist because of a stubborn adherence to tradition at the expense of fairness. And as a NASCAR fan, I appreciate NASCAR doing everything in their power to kind of ruthlessly work on weeding out the unfairness of interpretation from what they do and making things go more strictly by the book. NASCAR still has its own controversy. You're always going to have controversy with sports. But let's try to make the controversy not be things that we could easily fix with relatively simple fixes with technology. In baseball, I think we should have an electric strike zone. There's no reason for the strike zone to change based on which umpire is behind the plate, and then subjectively shift even further if that umpire is not calling a consistent strike zone. I don't think that it's a good and entertaining part of baseball that for the first 3 innings of the game, the pitchers and batters have to learn and figure out what the strike zone is that day. The strike zone is knees to letters and the plate. So you could have lasers from the plate, and you could have detectors come, like electronic detectors. It would not be difficult for them to make an electronic sign strike zone that is an absolute source of truth and have a light come on that calls ball or strike immediately so that it's consistent, everyone knows what it is, and then the players can play within the bounds of the actual rules, not try to play in where there's a fuzzy area of human imperfection that moves it based on whatever the umpire happens to see. We know that eyewitness testimony in court is unreliable because people, after witnessing something, either immediately forget or what they see changes and stuff like that. That's why it's not, even if you have good officials, then they're still going to make bad calls. Bad calls should not impact the game, whether it's a bad call on a strike or a ball, whatever. So that's my feeling on it. Fix all sports so that they end up being a fair competition where it's fair on all sides, and yeah. YRKSTR38, I finished 12th. Okay, well, let's watch this. Bad calls.
By this Los Angeles Rams team. First of all, the defense makes a big stop. Considering where the Saints got the ball in their previous possession,
this is not super high quality. Okay, second and goal.
What did the refs do? Let the Saints get away with a face mask. It would have gave them first down at the 1-yard line.
That looked like
instead of third down.
It looked like his hand made contact with the face mask. That's one of the ones where I like. So that's one of the ones that I'm talking about. Where is that a face mask or not? I don't know. I would have to see it again, but whatever the rule book says,
right here.
That's clearly
that's the second one today.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. So here we go. When I watch this, live, it's hard to see. When I watch it live, it's hard to see. When I watch it in replay on slow motion, he grabs that's obviously a face mask. So what did it take? It took me what? So let's say, hold on. Let me go back to this. I'm going to go back to this one because the other ones. But here we go. Let's watch because we can actually see on the video how long this takes to get the call correct. All right, so I'm going to keep the you guys can't see it, but I'm going to keep the clock up here. So the play ends at 22-23 second mark of this video. 10 second, we're at 7 seconds. We're now at 10 seconds. We're at.
Yeah, that's the second one today.
Okay, it took 16 seconds from when the play ended to determine the correct call. It took 16 seconds from when the play ended to see the replay in slow motion and make the correct call. And that's just because I'm limited by when TV shows me the replay. If I'm an actual... here's my point, Blazing for Parzival. The refs, they can add additional referees that do see that view. That's what I'm saying. Put one official per camera in a booth somewhere and let them make the correct call. Stuff like that continues to happen in the game because players know that they will get away with it, and they are told by their coaches that it's not cheating if you don't get caught. Yes, it is. Cheating is cheating. It's pure, plain and simple. No, they wouldn't. It took no time to make that call, and the reason that stuff happens all the time is because players know that they can get away with it. If they know that it's going to be called, if they know that the penalty is going to be called, they'll stop doing it. No, it would not add any additional length to the game. What it would do is that we would stop having so many penalties. Here we go. This is going to be the clearly contact. Okay, so I mean, is that pass interference? Yes. Clearly pass interference.
He just simply cannot believe it, nor can anyone that's in the stadium watching this. If a flag is thrown there, the Saints have the ability to run the clock down to 4 seconds left.
I mean, look, again, should that line ref be fired? I don't know. He missed one call. The problem is this is the entire problem with the system is that it puts the officials in a position where they are going to fail sometimes. You have set up a scenario where failure is inevitable. It's an unfair burden to put on the refs. Again, they were put in that by necessity 100 years ago because we didn't have television review. We didn't have the technology to make it possible. Now that we have the technology to make it possible, fix the glitch. The game has a glitch. Fix it. It's as simple as that. That's really all I have to say on it. We have live sports have a glitch that is easily correctable. So this is an easily fixable problem. Again, so someone said that it would add an additional $250,000 of cost to the NFL. Let me see. NFL revenue 2018. This is a different article. NFL is doing well. According to the report, the amount of money the NFL distributed to teams grew from $7.8 billion to $8.1 billion in 2017. So in 2017, teams were receiving $8.1 billion of revenue distributed to the teams. So just to underscore how much money that is, let's pull up a calculator. 8.1, that's 810, that's 8,100, that is $8,100. That is $8.1 million. This is $8.1 billion. Okay. So this is $8.1 billion. Okay? So that's 8.1 billion. We are going to put that in memory. Clear? Okay. So there are, let me see. Now what we're gonna do next is calculate the total number of games. There are NFL teams. There are 32 teams. So that means that there are, well, let's see. There are 16 regular season games times 16 teams, 256 games in the regular season. I think they all play four. They play four exhibition. Is it 4 or 5? How many preseason games do they play? Someone help me out here. 4 or 5? 4. Okay. So 256 games. Plus 4 times 16. 16 equals, no, that's not right. So 4 times 16 equals 64. Add that to 256 equals 320. Okay. So 320. Then we've got playoff games. How many total playoff games do we have? We had, so we've got, what was, we were at 320, I think, right? We had 256, and then 4 times 16, 64, plus 256 is 320. Plus 1 for the Super Bowl, plus 2 for the championship games. Ginger Jack, thanks for the follow. Plus, what do we have? I think there's 4 the week before the championship games and another 4. So we're looking at 331 games times 250,000 equals that. Okay? That's $82 million. Okay. 82,750,000. Sounds like a lot of money. That sounds like a lot of money. That, or here, actually, 82,750,000 divided by this, it is 1%. So if you took 1% of the revenue that the NFL distributes to team owners, this is not including the revenue that the team owners make themselves from merchandise and tickets. If you took the revenue, again, according to the report, the amount of money the NFL distributes to teams grew from 7.8 million. This is 8.1 million. So it's estimated that overall that the NFL makes $14 billion in revenue. So we're talking about less than 1% of the NFL's revenue could be spent if we're saying that it would take 250,000. And the thing is like you could shift that number around so it's a little bit less important in preseason games. It's obviously most important in the Super Bowl. But if you take less than 1% of the revenue at the estimate of $250,000 per game, which I think is a relatively fair estimate, and that's assuming that you're spending $250,000 on every single, like each individual game. So like Bears, Lions, Week 4, regular season, we are going to spend an additional $250,000 on that game to make sure that every single penalty gets called and that every call is correct. It would take less than 1% of the NFL's revenue to fix the glitch. I do not know of any game company that would not spend 1% of their revenue if it would guarantee that it would fix the most significant bug in their game. Because you're going to make more money if you fix the most significant bug with your game. Fix the dang game. It is a slap in the face to every NFL fan, every NFL player, every NFL coach, literally everyone who has any part of the NFL to not fix it. Exactly. That's the point that I'm making. That the current broken, goofy system is put there to add artificial drama to the game that does not need to be there. Fix it. Just that's all I would ask. Anyway, that was pretty long-winded. I might upload this to YouTube. We'll see if we can get some comments and stuff like that. This was fun. I'm probably going to do some more stuff. I've been talking about doing some form of podcast. There are a few guys that have been talking about the idea of doing something, so that could happen at some point in the future. If you guys like this, let me know in Discord. Yeah, so if you guys want me to do more stuff like this in the future, let me know. And schedule permitting, time permitting, energy permitting, mental, but I'll try to keep working it in if you guys like it.